Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for, what day is it? Wednesday, the 26th of November. I'm Stephen Ridgway. Well, you might have seen, it's hit the mainstream news as well as the cyber news, that there's been what appears to be a coordinated cyber attack striking multiple London councils. Not a huge amount that's known at the moment, but bear in mind some of these councils use shared IT infrastructure in the background. Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea, Westminster City Council, Hammersmith and Fulham have shared their IT services since 2011. So compromise of one is compromise of all. The incidents are the councils are being assisted by the NCSC. There has been notification to the ICO of potential potential PII breach. It is a little bit uncertain what the attackers were aiming to do at the moment. However, presumably the usual stuff. So it's quite a good article that I came across, a better article than the majority of the mainstream press in breach.company. That goes into a little bit more depth. In the meantime, bear in mind that if you are in London Council and you need council services, they may well be disrupted at the moment. And there's always the possibility that with the data that's been stolen, there will be then targeted fraud one way or another based around the information that has been potentially lifted. On completely different subject, there's been a lot of thought over the last 20 odd years put into securing the chipsets in computers. Historically, if you could touch it, there probably wasn't much that stopped you from reading what it was doing. But there have been attempts to improve the situation, security chips on boards and so on and so forth. Well, one of the part of that that evolution, there has been the introduction of encrypting memory, because memory analysis is definitely useful from an attacker's perspective. You need access to the box, right, in order to get access to the memory. But once you've got access to that, being able to see what's running in memory is quite useful from an attacker's perspective. Oh, excuse me. Oh, it's chilly old morning here. However, some researchers have built a cheap hardware module that bypasses AMD and Intel memory encryption. There's going to be more details released in Black Hat Europe, which I think is next month. But in the meantime, just be aware that some of these protections for devices are not necessarily as strong as they would like to say that they are. So don't rely entirely on that tier of protection. And also bear in mind that whilst you need physical access to a device in order to execute this, there are people who have physical access to cloud devices. Don't forget, a cloud is just somebody else's server. So yeah, if you're curious about this sort of stuff, as I am, have a read of the article. I don't think there's much that anybody is going to want to do immediately, except possibly reassess risks or ask some questions of your cloud provider. Haha, good luck getting an answer to that one. Right, that's it from me for... No, it isn't. No, it's not. I nearly forgot my last article. Right, final article from me then today. The UK is proposing to ban ransomware payments from public bodies and various other categories of group. You would be unsurprised, I think, to find that I am not greatly enamored with an awful lot of stuff that our current government or the previous one, or in fact many governments in the UK for probably the last 30 years, they appear to have done very little of any good, but that's another matter entirely. This, though, I can see has a certain amount of usefulness to it. Ransomware works because people pay. If it's clear that you absolutely won't get paid, that still leaves disruption and data theft as perfectly legitimate attacker reasons for focusing on particular organizations, but large ransom payments in Bitcoin will become less important. It is, however, a little challenging for the government to make sweeping statements around changing the legality of doing some of these things. To some extent, you could argue that certainly for commercial organizations, it's a commercial decision, a risk-based commercial decision. I think it's a dumb idea to pay a ransom. Anyway, for the two reasons being, firstly, you've no idea if you're going to get any data back or what state that data's in when you get it back. There are no guarantees that it's going to be useful, workable, unadulterated data. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it encourages repeats, which we do see quite a lot. So there's I think you'd have to be really, really stuck to consider paying a ransom. And if you pay a ransom on the expectation that your data will not then be leaked, then respectfully, your naivety probably is not congruent with your position in the organization if you're making those decisions. Criminal groups are criminal, so they may not leak your data that day. It might leak a little while later. And criminal groups sell on data to other criminal groups, and criminal groups hack each other for data. So the fact that you've paid X million in Bitcoin in order to prevent the publication of your data means very little in the greater scheme of things. You have to assume that even if it hasn't been leaked now, it will be leaked in the future because you can't get it back. You know, it's not a single copy of data. It's not some printed file somewhere that nobody's got a copy of. So yeah, interesting to see where we go with that. Interesting to see. The devil tends to be in the detail with these things, and I think you can almost guarantee that our government will screw it up. Right, that's all from me for